What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Clutch Cinema Talk, and today we have a lot of things to talk about. Possibilities, predictions going on for the last week regarding the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I will... You didn't like that, right? That was weird. So we will be talking about a lot of different points that have been coming up in the last week. All the potential leaks, all the possibilities, what it can mean for the MCU. All talking about that right now. So, before I get into it, possible spoilers, very possible, for Spider-Man 3, the MCU Spider-Man 3. So if you don't want to know anything about it, I don't know how you haven't heard of it yet, but if not, you can leave this video. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so the big news we'll start off with today is apparently a Sony source has said that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be reprising their roles in the upcoming Spider-Man 3 as their own Spider-Man. Boom. So that is humongous news because it has been speculated, and it has been a big speculation in the last, week ever since Jamie Foxx came up as Electro, which I'll talk about later. But this is humongous. This is absolutely humongous. I will get into why it's so humongous a little bit later. So Tobey Maguire will reprise his role as a Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield, the Spider-Man from the early 2000s, Andrew Garfield will come as his own Spider-Man, as his Spider-Man from the Amazing Spider-Man series that took place in the, early mid-2010s, I think it was. It was early mid-2010s, right? And they will be combining with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Now, the big question is, how can they be introduced into this? It's very interesting that they do it now, because ever since Into the Spider-Verse came out, it has explored the idea of multiple Spider-Man, and it's big for not just the Marvel Universe, but for countless universes, as the Flashpoint movie that's coming out supposedly supposed to have different types of Batman, and so Into the Spider-Verse kind of opened up this gate to allow people to understand that there could be multiple of the same character in one universe. So now it looks like maybe Marvel's going to pick it up. And what other better way to do it with the most iterations of a character, Spider-Man. And they're going to have a bunch of Spider-Man that many of us have grown up with. As certainly I've grown up with basically all three of these Spider-Man, as they're the cinematic Spider-Man. So how can they be introduced? Now the big prediction is that they will be introduced some way regarding the multiverse. Something regarding something that will happen in Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness? Multiverse of Madness, which is looking to be the first Marvel movie to actually dive into a multiverse, which was hinted at Spider-Man Far From Home, as, Mysterio said, I came from another Earth, and it actually wasn't the case, which made people think, was they just using it as a ploy? But now, in the title, it looks like there's going to be a multiverse, different things going on. How that's going to be introduced, it could possibly be by the, what's that place from Ant-Man? Damn, I haven't watched these movies so long. What's that thing from Ant-Man? The tiny place, whatever. It could be introduced like that. The Negative Zone is also a way of introducing something from the comics. Interesting enough, WandaVision may have a little hint going into Doctor Strange. So it's going to be a nice build-up, and I believe Spider-Man 3, whatever it's going to be called, is going to be the big that explodes and opens up this humongous possibility. And also, news from a few days back, Doctor Strange is going to be in it. All these leaks, I'm really wondering how people are mad quick, bro. I swear to God, people are mad quick to these leaks. They just see it, blurt it out, just like that. Now the whole world knows a lot of things about Spider-Man 3 before he even started shooting. But anyway, yeah, Doctor Strange is going to be a humongous part in this. From what they say, he's going to be also another mentor figure, like Tony Stark was in Spider-Man Homecoming and how Nick Fury was in Far From Home. He's going to be another mentor kind of figure. Other characters that have been, I don't want to say confirmed yet, but have been reported to be in it. Number one, Jamie Foxx reprising his role as Electro, and that's the biggest news, the start of the big news. Jamie Foxx's Electro is interesting because people were starting to wonder, is it the same Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2? Or is it just going to be a new Electro as MCU is just as the same character? And people were speculating, like, is this a Spider-Verse? What's going on? Then Doctor Strange came on. They're like, ooh, that's interesting. And now Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. So it may possibly be the same Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. However, he did put a post about it on Instagram. He said he's not going to be blue. So it may not be the Amazing Spider-Man 2's Electro, but it can be. We'll still have to wait up on that. It's not entirely clear. Other than Electro, the reported villains have been Kraven the Hunter, the Green Goblin, and a suited up Matt Gargan Scorpion, right? Those are the 3 other reported villains amongst Electro. And all of this is very interesting because number one, Kraven never have been seen in a Spider-Man movie. That's going to be an entirely new take, the first of its kind of Kraven. The Green Goblin has been done, however, twice actually. Maybe 3 times if you consider New Goblin, but twice for sure. William Dafoe's Green Goblin in the original Sam Raimi trilogy. And then there's that Amazing Spider-Man 2 Green Goblin. I forgot the actor's name, but there's that one too. The original Sam Raimi Spider-Man's Green Goblin died at the end of the movie. So that is like, maybe it won't be that Green Goblin. And did the Amazing Spider-Man 2's Green Goblin die? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he did. I don't think he did. So that's also a possibility of that Green Goblin. Or they could do an entirely new Green Goblin and put him into this film. So that's the Goblin. The Scorpion is going to be the MCU's Scorpion. That's the one you saw in Spider-Man Homecoming with the tattoo on the side. 4 villains already reported. And that's not to even mention the other possible ones, like Michael Keaton's Vulture could come back. He could break out of jail. Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio may not be dead right now. And then, since Vulture has been seen in the Morbius trailer, is that going to have a part in this? Is this going to be an absolute insanity of Spider-Man villains? Could you have Morbius and Sony's Venom? Can they be introduced? It's a lot of things to take in. I'll get into why I'm kind of nervous about the Spider-Man 3 movie. But the last big piece of news is that Oscorp has been reported is going to be introduced in Spider-Man 3. Whether Oscorp Tower is going to appear as, the bought-out Avengers Tower that we saw at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. It could be an entirely new, different building. We don't know, but Oscorp is going to be introduced. Maybe that's why I'm thinking it's going to be a new Green Goblin. But we'll very much see. So let's talk about possible plot points, right? The multitude of villains in this: Electro, Kraven, the Goblin, Scorpion, possibility of Vulture, Mysterio, Venom, Morbius, even some unnamed villains. Can this be setting up a Sinister Six movie? Can it just be a truckload of different villains coming from different multiverse be happening, and you just need to defeat them, and that's the end of it? We'll very much see. But my prediction here is that in Doctor Strange Multitude of Madness, something obviously is going to mess with the multiverse, and things are just going to kind of spiral and glitch in and out, and people are going to end up in places we never even seen before. That's why maybe these different villains get introduced at the beginning of the movie, and they're like, what the hell? And they start wreaking havoc, and Tom Holland's trying to take them all down, and then somewhere along the line, Doctor Strange may get a grasp on controlling the multiverse, and he may go out and get other Spider-Men who fought these from the villains' respected universes and be able to fight. And that's how they're gonna come into the final act, because Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are reportedly supposed to only be at the final act of Spider-Man 3. They're not going to be in it for the whole movie, which could change because, this is all just early reports and stuff. Now, the reason why I'm nervous about all these villains and all these Doctor Strange and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, it may not give Tom Holland's Spider-Man an opportunity focus on him. You know, there's so many things going on, different things, there's different characters you got to focus on, where like the big Marvel movies with a bunch of characters were later installments, and they've had a lot of time to grow. I'm thinking of Captain America: Civil War, you know, Infinity War, Endgame. Those are like the last things. And Spider-Man, he has been in it. I'm not saying he hasn't been in it. He has been in Civil War and Homecoming and Far From Home and Infinity War and Endgame. It's just I still believe he still needs more, maybe just a solo movie, just to grow and focus on New York and get into those shoes of becoming a big time hero. And maybe this can be it. I'm not saying it can't be. I'm just a little nervous about all these different characters and villains, and I'm thinking it may be a little bit too hectic. But maybe this is what he needs. I mean, Into the Spider-Verse, it did a good job. It did a great job of, you know, focusing on Miles as the main character, and everything. Those guys are just, you know, in the background or whatever. But I'm just a little nervous. I don't know how to feel about it yet, but we'll see. So the impact that this may have in the MCU, it's gonna be humongous. All right, it's opening up. This is gonna open up an humongous amount of possibilities, knowing that there's different versions of our heroes in different universes, and how often are they going to be tapping into these other universes, what can be created from these other universes and such. And there's going to be different things that are going to have to regulate these things. A big thing that can regulate these multiverses things are Nick Fury's new shield in space, per se, because you did see him at the end of Far From Home. He's in space, and this is a big hint to Sword, which is like it's basically space shield, and it'll probably cover bigger things than Earth, bigger things than Earth, galactic problems, and they'll be monitoring galactic heroes and villains and things that are going on in the humongous universe. So it's SHIELD times 500, basically. And maybe this Spider-Man 3 can disrupt something, like I said, disrupt something in the multiverse and in space. And my guess, as of right now, maybe not here, maybe not to change, it can unleash something from another universe, and I'm thinking Galactus. That's what I'm thinking. Galactus is a result of this messing with the multiverse. That's a thing that I feel can happen. Another big thing I can feel is a result of the multiverse is the Fantastic Four. Maybe a lot of people I've seen have speculated that the Fantastic Four is going to be a group on Sword, like in part of Sword, and they're gonna get their powers from a mishap or whatever. But me personally, I believe Fantastic Four doesn't need a origin story per se. Like, you know how Spider-Man was kind of introduced already past his origin, just in the beginnings of his, you know, hero kind of thing. I think that's what the Fantastic Four needs, because we all know the Fantastic Four, they were in space and they get their powers, blah blah blah. We don't really need to see it again. It's more of how they're just going to be introduced, and I feel like they're going to be kind of established. I feel like they may be heroes for another universe. That's how I think they're going to be introduced into the MCU, as another superhero group from another universe. Boom, plop here. Damn it, we're in the wrong universe, but we'll help you out while we can. That's what I believe. But we'll definitely see. Whew. That's a lot. It's a lot to talk about. A lot has happened in a week for the MCU regarding the Spider-Man 3, and it's gonna be a very big movie in the MCU. Very, very big movie in the MCU. It's gonna build up hype. Because the MCU is gonna have to build up new hype ever since the Avengers has gone away, and I believe the new MCU should focus around Spider-Man, because he's a very he's a fan favorite hero, and he can be a big hero, and a lot of stories can revolve around him. So it looks like Spider-Man and this Spider-Man multiverse is going to be the new hype. Spider-Man 3 is supposed to come out, I think, mid-December next year. They're supposed to begin shooting like next week, and which is crazy because all of this stuff has been without even starting being shot. And from a fan's point of view, it's cool knowing like, oh, you know, it could be a Spider-Verse movie, but I do like the surprise, you know, when you go to see the movie and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't know they were gonna be in this or this and that. And it's not a problem, I guess. It's just we live in an age where things like this are getting leaked like crazy. People are just figuring out the plots before they even filmed it, and it kind of sucks. I do like the surprises, but that's just the times we're living in with the internet, and then the hype goes through the roof, and Spider-Man 3 already has humongous expectations, maybe the biggest expectations since, you know, the Infinity War Endgame. Already has big expectations. And the thing with big expectations can be that if people are don't see what they wanted, then they're going to be disappointed, and the movie's going to get a bad rap when it could have been just, you know, a solid movie, which is a thing that possibly happened, you know, with the Star Wars. Although they were but expectations can lead to bad things because the fans are wanting something, and they may not get it in the end, or it comes out differently, and they're not going to be able to enjoy for what it is. They're just going to be disappointed. They're going to be disappointed. And I don't want to be disappointed, especially with MCU. Nothing has disappointed me yet. I mean, Thor: The Dark World but that was very early MCU, and Captain Marvel kind of disappointed me a little bit. I believe it would have worked as an earlier film, but that's just a discussion for another time. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say already, just from the few leaks. I may talk about Spider-Man a little bit more down when we maybe get a trailer or some new information, but that should be about it. This video's a little bit long already. But yeah, you let me know, what are you excited about? What do you think is going to happen in this multiverse kind of thing? Let me know. Who's your favorite Spider-Man? Let me know that, actually. Who's your favorite Spider-Man? Comment down below. Yep, so until next video, this has been Clutch Cinema Talk again, talking about a little bit some news on the MCU. So I'll catch y'all in the next video. Alright? Deuces. Yeah.